Hey guys, it's Shervin61 back with another video, and this one is a doozy. We're diving deep into the rabbit hole today. We're talking about Sony, that company that makes your PlayStation and those Spider-Man movies. But there's whispers that they're involved in something way bigger, way shadier. We're talking Illuminati, hidden agendas, the whole shebang. Let's do it. First things first, we gotta talk about the granddaddy of all conspiracy theories, the Illuminati. This shadowy organization, rumored to control everything from governments to the media, has been linked to everyone, from Beyoncé to the Queen of England. And guess what? Sony's no exception. People have been analyzing Sony's logos and product designs for years, convinced they're hiding secret symbols and subliminal messages. Like, have you ever really looked at the PlayStation logo? Some think those shapes are actually Illuminati symbols, placed there to brainwash us while we're playing Call of Duty. And don't even get me started on the movies. People claim that Sony's films are packed with subliminal messages hidden in plain sight, a flicker of an eye here, a specific hand gesture there. Apparently, it's all designed to control our minds. Now, I'm not saying I believe all of this, but there's no denying that Sony has a massive influence on our culture. They're everywhere, from our living rooms to our movie screens, and that kind of power attracts conspiracy theories. Think about it, Sony's been around for decades, quietly building their empire. They've got their hands in everything: music, movies, video games, electronics, and they're constantly innovating, pushing the boundaries of technology. So, is Sony really in cahoots with the Illuminati? It's definitely something to think about. Alright, so we've talked about the Illuminati, but the conspiracy theories surrounding Sony go way deeper than that. Some people are convinced that Sony is on a mission to destroy traditional values and replace them with something more sinister. They point to the content Sony produces, the movies, the TV shows, the video games, and they see a pattern. A pattern of sex, violence, and a general disregard for everything that's good and pure in the world. They say Sony is trying to corrupt our youth, turn them into mindless consumers. They claim that Sony is pushing a liberal agenda, promoting things like LGBTQ+ rights and feminism, and it's not just the content itself, it's the way it's presented, the messages that are being subtly woven into the narrative. Like, is that new superhero movie really just a superhero movie? Or is it a thinly veiled attempt to promote a specific political ideology? Whatever it was, it left you feeling uneasy, like you'd been exposed to something dangerous. And that's what these conspiracy theorists are afraid of. They see Sony as this powerful force, capable of shaping the minds of millions. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but I do think it's important to be aware of the potential influence that companies like Sony have on our culture. Chapter 3. We're talking about Sony's grip on the entertainment industry, and let me tell you, it's a tight one. From music to movies and even video games, Sony's influence is undeniable. Have you ever noticed how Sony seems to have their fingers in every pie? It's like they have a hand in everything we consume for entertainment. Music, movies, video games, they're everywhere. You can't escape their reach, no matter where you turn. They own major music labels, churning out hit after hit from your favorite artists. It's like they have a magic formula for success in the music industry. They've got a stake in Hollywood, producing blockbuster movies that rake in billions at the box office. Their films dominate the charts and capture our imaginations. And don't even get me started on PlayStation. It's a gaming powerhouse that has revolutionized the way we play. It's like the holy grail of gaming consoles, and they know it. Gamers around the world swear by it, and it's a staple in many households. So what's the big deal? Why should we care about Sony's dominance? Some people believe that Sony's dominance in the entertainment industry is more than just good business. They see it as a calculated move to control what we consume, what we enjoy, what we think about. They see it as a calculated move to control what we consume, what we enjoy, what we think about. It's a subtle form of influence that can shape our culture and our minds. When one company has that much control over what we watch, listen to, and play, it gives them a scary amount of power. They can dictate trends and set the agenda for what's popular. They can influence our tastes, shape our opinions, even dictate our moods. It's a level of control that goes beyond just selling products. It's like they're pulling the strings, and we're all just puppets dancing to their tune. Every move we make, every choice we think is ours, might just be part of their grand design. And it's not just about money, although let's be real, money's definitely a big part of it. It's about control. Control over the narrative, control over our desires, control over our minds, our hearts, our very souls. It's a power that can shape the very fabric of our society. Now, I'm not saying that Sony is solely responsible for all the ills of the modern world, but their influence is something we can't ignore. But I do think it's important to be aware of the potential dangers of allowing one company to have so much control over our entertainment. It's a reminder to stay vigilant and question the sources of our entertainment. Chapter 4. This next level of the Sony conspiracy, it involves governments, secret deals, and a whole lot of power plays. We're diving into the murky waters where corporate interests and political power intersect. See, Sony isn't just some entertainment giant. They're a behemoth in the tech world, a company whose influence extends far beyond just movies, music, and video games. They're a global powerhouse with their tentacles reaching into every corner of the world. From Asia to Europe, from the Americas to Africa, Sony's presence is felt everywhere. And when you have that kind of reach, that kind of influence, you tend to make friends in high places. These aren't just casual acquaintances, these are strategic alliances. We're talking politicians, world leaders, the whole shebang. These relationships can shape policies, influence decisions, and even alter the course of nations. Some people believe that Sony uses its wealth and influence to lobby for favorable laws, to secure lucrative contracts, and to generally make sure that the game is rigged in their favor. This isn't just about business, it's about control. And the thing is, there's actually some evidence to support this. We're not just talking about rumors or hearsay. There are documented instances that raise eyebrows. I'm not talking about tinfoil hat, lizard people evidence. This is real, tangible proof that has been scrutinized by experts and analysts. I'm talking about real, documented cases of Sony engaging in shady business practices, of them using their power to stifle competition and crush their enemies. These are not isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern. Like, remember that time Sony got caught trying to bribe government officials in China? That scandal rocked the industry and exposed the lengths to which Sony would go to maintain its dominance. Or that other time they were accused of using their patents to prevent other companies from developing new technologies? Yeah, that actually happened. It was a strategic move to stifle innovation and keep competitors at bay. So it's not that far-fetched to think that Sony might be involved in some even shadier stuff behind the scenes. The deeper you dig, the more you uncover layers of secrecy and manipulation. Some people believe that Sony is working with governments to develop advanced surveillance technologies, using their electronics and gaming consoles to spy on unsuspecting citizens. This isn't just science fiction, it's a real concern in today's digital age. They claim that Sony is part of a global conspiracy to create a totalitarian world order, where our every move is tracked and monitored. It's a chilling thought, but one that some find increasingly plausible. Now I know what you're thinking, that sounds crazy, right? It seems like something out of a dystopian novel or a Hollywood thriller, like straight out of a dystopian novel. But sometimes reality can be stranger than fiction. But the more you think about it, the more plausible it seems. The connections, the evidence, the patterns, they all start to form a picture that's hard to ignore. So, is it really that far-fetched to think that they might be working together? When you consider the stakes and the players involved, it starts to make a lot of sense. It's definitely something to think about. The lines between corporate power and government influence are often blurred, and in the case of Sony, those lines might be more intertwined than we realize. Chapter 5. Alright guys, we've talked about the Illuminati, cultural manipulation, global control, but this last conspiracy, this one's a real head-scratcher. It's a labyrinth of theories and speculations that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. It's the mystery of who really owns Sony, a company so influential yet its true ownership remains shrouded in secrecy. Some people believe that the true owners of Sony are hidden in the shadows, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. These shadowy figures are said to be the real power brokers. They point to the fact that Sony is a multinational conglomerate, with subsidiaries and shell companies scattered all over the globe. This complex web makes it nearly impossible to trace the true ownership. It's like a giant financial puzzle, and no one seems to have all the pieces. The more you dig, the more confusing it gets. Some people believe that Sony is secretly owned by a shadowy cabal of elite families, the kind of people who attend Bilderberg meetings and vacation on private islands. These families are said to wield immense power and influence. They say that these families use Sony as a front, a way to launder money, exert influence, and generally control the world from the shadows. It's a theory that ties into the larger narrative of global elite control. Others believe that Sony is actually controlled by a foreign government, using the company as a tool for espionage and economic warfare. This theory suggests a more geopolitical angle. They point to Sony's close ties to the Japanese government, as well as their history of developing cutting-edge technologies that could easily be used for military purposes. This connection raises eyebrows and fuels speculation. And then there are those who believe that Sony is actually owned by, wait for it, aliens. Yes, you heard that right. Okay, I know that one sounds crazy, but hear me out. The theory goes that extraterrestrial beings are using Sony to subtly influence humanity. Some people believe that Sony is being used by extraterrestrial beings to prepare humanity for their eventual arrival. They argue that the advanced technology developed by Sony is beyond human capability and must have otherworldly origins. So there you have it, guys. The wildest, most intriguing conspiracy theories surrounding Sony. We've covered everything from the Illuminati to alien overlords, and let me tell you, my head is spinning. Are any of these theories true? I honestly don't know. But I do know one thing: Sony is a powerful company with a lot of influence. And whether you believe the conspiracy theories or not, it's important to be aware of that power and to think critically about the role that Sony plays in our lives. So what do you guys think? Are you buying into any of these theories, or do you think it's all just a bunch of nonsense? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any more of my conspiracy busting videos. Stay curious, my friends.